Can I tell you a story?
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
I'm Sean Azzaro, pastor of River City Community Church, and I think everyone loves a good story. I'd like to invite you to join us as we experience the greatest story ever told. We're calling it The Jesus Story, and it is much more than a sermon series. It is a journey of discovery that could change your life and the life of someone you love forever. The Gospel of John gives an extraordinary account of Jesus' life through the eyes of his closest friend. John looks beyond what Jesus did to who he really is. If you've ever been curious about Jesus or wanted to know him more, come and experience The Jesus Story. River City Community Church is located a mile and a half outside of Loop 1604 on Lookout Road, across from Retama Park. Service times are Sunday at 9 and 11 a.m. and Monday nights at 6:30 p.m. River City is a church for real life, and you can find out more at reallife.org. The Jesus Story. Come and see at River City Community Church. This is Sean Azzaro, and you are listening to Reaching for Real Life. And you're loving it right now.
Hey, welcome to Reaching for Real Life. You are in good form today. But I thought you'd lose your voice, not after preaching on Sunday, but what happened? My gosh, now I'm a believer. I'm becoming a believer in your Chicago Bears.
The Chicago Bears.
What a comeback.
Oh,
They pulled
man.
a miracle off.
Milagro. No, they actually had that game well in hand. And they almost blew it.
That's true.
They almost blew it.
The defense did collapse.
And the Bears of the past would have blown it. Folks, here's an important lesson. I'm going to give you a lesson from the Chicago Bears.
Okay?
This is not just Sean trying to wheedle in the Bears in an awkward way. Coaching makes all the difference. Leadership. It was John Maxwell who said everything rises and falls on leadership. And it really is. Ben Johnson, new coach for the Chicago Bears, has turned things around unbelievably. Yes, we've got some talented players. He's really bringing along our young quarterback, Caleb Williams. But, man, a different coaching. He brought a different coaching staff. It has absolutely transformed the organization, and leadership matters. Who knew?
All right, be more specific. Could you see his actions manifest there on the sidelines? Or?
Oh, well, he's an offensive guru. Okay, offensive side of the ball, that's your scoring side, and then you got your defense. Who, if you know football, you know the teams switch out. He's an offensive coordinator, very offensive mind. He was one of the most sought after coaching candidates. But people never know how he's going to be as a head coach, right? He's an offensive coordinator. He was an outstanding, one of the best. It was speculation because he'd never been a head coach before. Well, he's proving to be an excellent head coach, changing the culture, changing the way the team prepares, changing the way the team goes through their weeks. Still got a long way to go, but you just see things very different. And it was by the way, if you're a football fan, do yourself a favor, watch the last quarter of this the Bears-Bengals game.
You just have to watch the last minute.
Yeah. It really, the last couple minutes, and you just be like, oh my gosh.
Were you freaking out?
Baron, I was calm. I was in meditative prayer.
Exactly. No, that was real special. I had to show Shan, too. And she was like, oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like Packers. The Bears look like they're in third because of the way the thing is, rigged.
We technically are in third because we lost to Detroit, Minnesota. So in conference, in our
it's anybody's.
Our division.
Yeah, it's anybody's.
Yeah, no, we're all within Green Bay. If Dallas could have actually pulled off and actually beat you guys instead of the tie, we would have a 3-way tie for first place between Green Bay, Detroit, and Chicago, and then Minnesota would be in second. That's the way that would be.
So I saw that the Packers are playing the Eagles next, and then you've got another gimme coming.
We don't have a gimme. We have the New York Giants who've been doing right. But the Packers are playing the Eagles where?
In Lambeau, right?
Yeah. We got to play them on Black Friday in Philadelphia. So, again, more heavy lifting for the Bears, a little bit harder,
You're not
but
scared.
A little stronger. We're not scared. We're not scared.
All right, so let me ask you a question. Chicago or Eagles? Which is the better band?
Nice. I think that's a false equivalency. You can't just say that the better band. I love Chicago.
Yeah.
But I love the Eagles.
Oh, no.
Chicago has that unique kind of pop, but jazz, kind of with the horns, and I mean, it's really good stuff. And then Eagles is a southern rock band. I mean, you can't compare these two bands. They're both classics.
Okay, but influential in your life. What did you gravitate? You've got the tapes in your hands, and it's 1986.
Both.
Oh, okay.
Both. I was very into both of those bands.
All right. Chicago 8, side 2, track 3. What's that song?
That's the song. I'm not like
David
okay,
Harris.
yeah, exactly. A friend of ours, David Harris. Hey, now he would tell you. Yeah. No, I had a life. I had I had a girlfriend. Please,
yeah, please, come on, man. Hey, can we talk about music, Sean?
Yes. Came across this. It's an Instagram post, and what drew me to the post was the caption on top of the Instagram post that said "Aging Out of Music Ministry." Her name is Kelsey McGinnis. Kelsey McGinnis. She's a reporter for Christianity Today. She's got an Instagram following. Does an Instagram thing, but it was this idea of aging out of music ministry, and this is something that churches and worship leaders and ministers kind of have wrestled with for years now. Because as music styles have changed, as churches have changed, as the growing younger churches had a very contemporary music style and approach versus older, more traditional churches that had a more traditional choral, more classical influence, it really did create some division, downright serious church fights over music styles, but also just some division in kind of how churches approach it. I thought her post, which we're going to listen to some of it, was really insightful and helpful. And we've got 2 clips. Let's play the first one.
Which clip number?
This is clip number 1.
Kelsey McGinnis from Christianity Today.
Last year, when I was at the Getty's Sing Conference, I interviewed a group of women, 5 of them, who were all over the age of 65. And we talked about what it's like to age out of music ministry. Age is something that comes up a lot in my reporting as I talk with worship leaders and church musicians. And something that I noticed as a bit of a pattern is that churches that use contemporary worship music struggle to keep people in music ministry as they age. In talking with these 5 women, a couple things I noticed. One was that they all had been involved in choir in some way or another. 2 of them have been choir directors, and they had seen choir kind of go out of fashion and felt like they sort of lost their place to be involved in music ministry. One of these women talked about how her vocal training was more classical, and once there was a transition to contemporary worship music, the way she had been trained to sing was such that she felt like she didn't really have a place on the worship team because her voice didn't fit in anymore. Now, for some of these women, there was a self-selecting here that happened. They sort of sensed that they didn't have a place here anymore, that they didn't quite match the aesthetic that everybody was going for, and so they kind of pulled away. But in other cases, for one in particular, there was a bit more of an active pushing out. The pattern that I have noticed in my reporting is that churches that try to emulate the model of musical worship presented by the popular creators of worship music, Elevation, Bethel, that model lends itself well to a pretty narrow age range if you're going for the aesthetic of kind of the worship music video. And this is kind of an uncomfortable conversation. And it's certainly not constant across churches, but it is enough of a pattern that I notice it as a reporter, and older people in these churches are also noticing.
Sean, I like her style. She's real. I mean, it's kind of an interesting observation on, it's kind of a sad thing that's happening now.
It really is. When you stop and think about this, people who have, church music, something they love. It's worship for them, and it's a contribution they've made, and
they're using their talents.
Yeah, and they're using their talents to glorify the Lord. And all of a sudden, they feel like they can't. What's easy to do, and what a lot of people do, and I think this is one of the problems, is you just go, those dang mega churches or those dang kids and their contemporary music, and you kind of want to blame somebody, and it's really not that simple. That whole idea, I don't know that it's aging out so much as the idea of, as music styles change, which they do, and the church has a desire to connect with their audience, connect with the culture around them, because it's not just about singing what we're comfortable with. Because again, worship is what we're all striving for, right? We want to, the biblical things, sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. So this is a biblical tradition in the church. It doesn't say sing them of this style, or sing them from this century or this decade, or use these particular instruments in the arrangements. That's up to the particular culture. Who is it you're trying to connect with? Who is it you're trying to create space for them to express their worship to? And so as that changes, that's where we begin to have problems. One of the things she pointed out is they've seen choir go out of fashion. Okay. Now, here's the great thing about a choir. All of a sudden, you have a good group of people. Basically, you would have, hopefully some auditions where you have people who are musically somewhat gifted, but you don't have to be an incredible soloist. You don't have to be classically trained to sing in a choir. If you have a reasonable ear, you have a pleasant tone, and you can blend, you can sing in a choir.
And you don't put a microphone on them.
Oh, you don't.
Everybody knows that.
There are certain sections you turn that microphone off. That's a prop. No, but the whole idea of choir going out of fashion. And so all of a sudden the person who's a choir singer or a choir director, it's like, well, what do I do now? And I understand that. That's a really difficult challenge because many, many churches aren't using choirs. They're using worship teams. They're using smaller with a band, an ensemble, a contemporary band, and then they'll have a few vocalists, solo-driven, and then some background vocalists. Maybe they'll switch the soloists and things, but that's the musical setting that they're using. It's not wrong. The choir's not wrong. The worship team's not wrong, and that's the problem. We try to assign moral value. Like back when the church was what the church is supposed to be.
We had way for 100 years.
Exactly. Went back in my day, you got to understand. I live on both sides of this, right? Because if anybody should be aging out, it's me, right? I mean,
I hate to tell you, Sean.
This is an intervention. Come on in, guys.
Everybody.
Here's the thing. I'm an instrumentalist and a musician. I've always played more contemporary style music. That's my particular thing. That being said, I studied classical music.
True.
I love choral music. I love classical music. So I kind of feel like I've comfortably had a foot in both of these worlds. We have a very young worship team. When I get up and lead, it's like, oh, Papa's coming, But yet, stylistically, there's no change. I'm going to be blending in, and I'm going to be leading in a similar style. We're not going to do a total departure. Right? We may, for certain effect, do certain type things, or for different vocalists, maybe have a little different style, but we're going to be within our framework. A lot of people can't do that. If you're an orchestra member, what about an orchestra? That used to be a part.
Yep.
And so I play, a clarinet, and I've played clarinet in my church, but we don't use an orchestra anymore. We use a rhythm section. Well, that's very hard for a person. And so I totally get that. I understand that challenge. Even how you sing vocally. I was classically trained. I know enough. I first sang contemporary style, more pop style. Then I received classical vocal training, and I realized, okay, I can't just take this classical vocal training and now bring it into a rhythm section or a worship band or a country band or whatever type band you're playing in. It's very different. Well, a lot of people, they can't make that. They don't know how to make that leap. And one of the ladies she talked about, she said her vocal training was more classical. And when there was a transition to contemporary worship, she was trained in a certain way. She didn't really have a place in the worship team because her voice didn't fit in anymore. And it's actually true. Your voice doesn't fit in. It's a totally different sound, and it sticks out. And we're not even just on a big stage in an auditorium with great acoustics. You've got a microphone in front of you. So it does become an issue. And, she mentioned how some of these ladies, they kind of self-select. They just realize, hey, yeah, I'm not so appreciated, and they step back. Well, others, the team is kind of trying to help them. I understand. We've had some folks who, they have nice voices, but we have to say, okay, literally we'll give them, here's someone, contemporary singer, here's a group, they have voices similar to yours, or this person has a voice, this guy, this girl has a voice similar to yours. Listen to them and try to imitate them and see how they use their voice differently. Yeah. Just to literally say, you don't have to sing that one way. You can sing more airy, or you can sing real big. You can blend in with everybody, or maybe if you're in a solo, you're coming out and you're doing something different. Helping people make those transitions is a way, but a lot of people can't make that transition.
So why can't we accept that the congregation is the choir, corporate worship? You can sing and worship from there because we're not supposed to be watching a concert.
Right. Well, and Baron, that goes to something that's significant because a lot of times we confuse the purpose of music in the church. We think involvement is the purpose. Involvement is a wonderful byproduct when it can be, but it's not the purpose. The purpose of the church is to glorify God. Secondary purpose, make disciples who glorify God, right? Having as many people involved in their using their musical talents is not one of our primary goals. It's a wonderful thing, but if we think, oh, the goal is to have, it's because we literally turn it into almost like the talent show.
Right.
This is our little church, and I've sang solos for 30 years, and it's like we miss the point.
Well, that is to something you just said right now. That's their identity. And so the other sad part is that when they're no longer needed, then I've lost who I am. And then they leave, or I don't know.
Right. And it's not just them. It's not their fault, right? It's the church's fault because we've made this about something else.
Interesting.
She really talks about this in her second clip. Let's play that second clip.
Which clip?
Play clip 2.
So with the usual caveat, I'm a reporter, I'm not a worship pastor. I do think this is a question that worship leaders should be taking on in a really thoughtful way, because we're now looking at churches where you have a lot of older musicians who simply feel like they don't have a place to contribute anymore. And if we're talking about churches where there used to be things like a choir and orchestra, there simply are fewer opportunities for musicians to use their gifts in churches. So doing away with the programs that can admittedly be kind of a headache to put together, you take away opportunities for people to not only use their gifts, but also to become better musicians. There is a trickle-down effect here that has to do with more than just age. It also has to do with the shrinking down of the church's role as a music education institution. And I think it's worth thinking about the ways that changes in the past 30, 40 years have made it harder for wise, seasoned musicians to continue practicing as church musicians.
30 years, 40 years, we've witnessed this change, this shift in the culture.
Right.
I think back when the first time we heard a guitar solo in church, and oh my gosh.
Oh. Baron, I went to lead worship at a church. A pastor brought me in to do contemporary worship.
Yeah.
And, they had been organ piano only, and he wanted to help contemporary. And so what he did is bring me in, right? Then without preparing me, well.
With your sandals on too, right? That guy.
No, I wore shoes for that.
Oh, nice.
I understood propriety. A lady literally said she saw demons coming out of my guitar. It's an acoustic guitar, by the way. Right. Demons coming. And my response was, oh, good. They've been looking for a place. I'm glad they finally found somewhere where they were comfortable.
Nice. That flew.
It was obnoxious, but no, that's the kind of thing. People get so emotional, upset. What struck me about that clip we just played, she talked about how I'm a reporter and a worship pastor. I do things a question worship leaders should be taking on in a thoughtful way. And I absolutely agree. Because we're looking at churches where we have a lot of older musicians who simply feel like they don't have a place to contribute anymore. She made the statement, there's a trickle-down effect here that has to do with more than just age. It also has to do with the shrinking down of the church's role as a music education institution.
Right.
When I hear that, I have two very strong polar opposite responses. As a church musician, as a music major,
yes,
okay, studied classical music and all that, I understand how important the church's role has been in the development of music throughout the centuries.
My daughter took piano lessons. My other daughter took singing lessons at the church.
Yep, so I understand that. But as a pastor, I understand the church doesn't have a role really as a music education institution. That's not what we do.
Oh.
We make disciples.
I want my money back.
I've heard your girls.
Well,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
All right.
Vanessa, Olivia, I'm kidding.
Thank you.
But no, the point is that's not what we were about. And it's about worship.
Right.
It's about corporate worship. Let me just make an observation that as a pastor, because I love people being involved. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think what we do is we say it's got to be either or. And I really don't think that's the case. One of the ways that we've tried to deal with this is to offer different musical expressions for different events, for different things. Why not have a choir? Now, might not be singing every week. You may not be the church that is going to have a choir singing every week. And people just need to adjust to that. They need to understand that's not going to happen. But we're going to put together a choir and seasonal, and for Christmas, for Easter, for maybe special events, this choir is going to sing. It doesn't just have to be in the church. We got a bunch of people. We sing together in a choir. We're going to go sing at this 4th of July event at a bank, or we're going to go and we're singing sacred songs, but we're believers together who love Jesus, and we're singing and we're glorifying him. But we don't expect that the church is going to be our platform always. I think the church can say, hey, it's Christmas, we're going to have this Christmas choir, and that's a wonderful thing. That doesn't mean that needs to be our meat and potatoes every week, and that's okay. Yeah. Honestly, if you're a more traditional church and you go, no, we love our church is doing great, we're more classically oriented, more choral, that's great. Have a worship band, and then have, for some of your more casual events, have your worship band play. It's okay. There's not a moral weight on this. It's not like one is good, the other is bad. What's critical is that we remember the purpose of the church. We remember what we're there for. We are there to glorify Jesus, to worship him, to exalt him, and to make disciples who do the same. That's what we're about. And so we're not about creating spaces for people's musical talents, even though that's something that I love and we try to do. If you've got a bunch of instrumentalists who want to play in an orchestra and you can put that to the great, do an orchestra. You'll be glad you have them. Use those for some special events. It takes extra work.
Right.
It takes extra understanding. But it's this idea, I think we need to understand progress and change in styles is not sinful. It's not a problem that has to be fixed. It's a reality.
Yeah.
Music style is, in the churches that I've seen that are really fruitful and doing a really good job of reaching their community and making disciples, the style and the cultural fit, it's more about who are we trying to reach and how can we make this as authentic and real for them so that there are as few barriers to people coming in and hearing the Lord's voice, exalting him in worship, hearing the word, and experiencing that New Testament church community in this contemporary setting. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. You can follow Kelsey McGinnis on her Instagram account. She's got a lot of great stuff. I hope to have her on, Pastor Sean.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to talk with her more about this because this is a great, great conversation starter. And she handled it with really compassion. Mm-hmm. And I feel the exact same thing. You know, and she did talk about, one of the things she talked about is the churches, and boy, I want to be real careful with this, that try to look like a music video all the time.
Is there pressure there for the church?
Yeah, and you should say no to it.
Right.
I knew a pastor. He actually was asking me to come and be his worship minister at a very large church on the West Coast. And he made the statement to me, he said, we don't have older people, we don't have overweight people on our worship team because we're trying to reach our community, and they're young, and they're thin, and they're fit. And I was just like, that's just weird. Yeah. I did not go there.
Yes. That's shocking.
Yeah, and it's not. It's usually not. He was being honest with me, and he's not going to say that from the platform, but he just really is trying to maintain a particular vibe and a feel. Be careful with that. I've known some churches that are doing great contemporary music, and they have older musicians because, by the way, they're stylistically a good fit for what you're feeling called to do. Then wonderful. Their age shouldn't be the factor. Mm-hmm. Our worship team is primarily younger people, but there's a number of older people. They're skilled at what they do. Mm. They have the ability, the chops to be able to play what they need to play, but they're just part of the family. And it's one of those things when it becomes a performance, when I'm trying to put some image forward that I just need to be very careful with that, because that's how inauthenticity comes, and there's a lot of that happens, and I don't think that glorifies God.
Do you see, not that you could even predict, but a swing back? Because a lot of the kids today are craving a more traditional church.
Oh, without a doubt. My son's church is doing things more traditionally than we are. Mm-hmm. And Ryan's an outstanding musician, but they're singing a selection of more traditional hymns. Yeah. And again, they do them all very excellently. Of course. And I love going there to worship.
Does he use a lyre and a harp?
Not that traditional.
Okay.
But I just think you're right. And by the way, that's absolutely fine. If that's if that's helping you and the community God has called you to speak to, focus on Jesus, glorify him, sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs, then great. Let's just not attach moral kind of weight to style. I will say, and what Kelsey's post there really pointed out, how we treat people in the process. Man, I want to love and respect people. I want to honor musicians who maybe have a hard time making that jump.
Yeah.
Well, how can I create just opportunities for them to be involved? Maybe it's not every week on Sunday mornings, but why can't we have choirs? Why can't we have ensembles or orchestras and things like that that just give people opportunities to use those gifts? I'll tell you what, the church is richer for it. Mm-hmm. The thing is, you just have to say, hey, that's not going to be our regular bread and butter, and that's okay.
Well, speaking of Sunday morning, Pastor Sean, the Jesus story. You're telling
The
me.
Jesus story continues. We're going to be in John chapter 5. Great chapter. I hope you'll come out. Mike McGuire did a superb job last weekend. I took a week away. It was really nice, but he did a great job. And I love what God's doing on Sundays and on Mondays. And we just are really enjoying digging deeper in the Gospel of John.
Well, that's Sunday morning, 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock here at River City Community Church, and the brand new Monday night service.
6:30 p.m. Would love to have you. Come on out. Yeah, we're just very thankful for what God's doing. Bring a friend. Come on out. You can find out more at reallife.org, and we would just love to be able to help point you and your family toward the faith life that God's called you to.
And thanks again to Kelsey McGinnis. Again, hope to get her on. You can find her work on her Instagram page and, of course, at Christianity Today.
Hey, thanks for listening. It has been wonderful being with you. Hope you have a great week and just experience God's presence in everything that you do.